All right, so here we're going to go ahead and make a key for the graphing worksheet. So we want to make a table of values with H in the center, right? State the asymptote, domain, range, and accurately graph each function. All right, so we'll start with the table of values. X, Y. All right, and so we're going to put H in the center. In this case, H is 0. So we'll go a couple below it, a couple more than it. And then we plug them in. So if we plug in 0, 3 to the 0 is 1, 1 minus 2 is -1. Plug in 1, 3 to the first is 3, 3 minus 2 is 1. Plug in 2, 3 squared is 9, 9 minus 2 is 7. And then here we've got to go ahead and plug these in. You get negative to the negative first, so you're going to get 1/3 minus 2. So you can get -1 2/3. Plug in 2, you're going to get 1/9, and 1/9 minus 2 is -1 8/9. And again, you always know those are going to approach that asymptote. So your asymptote's at -2. We'll draw that. All right, and so again, you write that y equals -2. Okay, that's your asymptote. Okay, if we plot these points, okay, 0, -1, 1, 1, 2, 7, then we just know those are going to be close to the asymptote. Okay, so we draw our graph. We have ourselves an exponential growth function, which we knew because b was bigger than 1. And so our domain is all real numbers. Our range, everything greater than -2, so -2 to infinity. Right? We have all the information we need: table, asymptote, graph, domain, range. All right, number 2, here we have a decay function. Again, we know that because b is 1/2. And so we get table of values. H is still 0 on this one. So we'll put 0 in the middle. Plug in 0, anything to 0 is 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. Plug in -1, you get 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. Plug in -2, you get 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. And then if you plug in 1, 1/2 plus 3 is 3.5. Plug in 2, you get 1/4 plus 3 is 3 1/4. So again, you can see it's just getting closer to 3 because 3, the K, is the horizontal asymptote. So again, we write that y equals 3. Go ahead and graph this. So you can see the decay function. All right. Oh, domain. So our domain, again, is all real numbers. That's going to be the domain for everything on this worksheet. And our range depends on the asymptote, so it's everything greater than 3. 3 to infinity. All right, number 3, table of values. Now we do have an H. Our H is positive 2. Remember, it's always the opposite of what you see. So put 2 in the middle. 1, 0, 3, 4. Now we plug in 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Anything raised to the 0 power is 1. Plug in 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 to the first is 3. Plug in 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. 3 squared is 9. Okay, and then 1/3, 1/9. And so our horizontal asymptote, in this case, there is no k, so that means it's 0. So our horizontal asymptote is 0. So just the x-axis. And then we plot these points, shifted 2 spots to the right. So there is our graph.
Knock on my door.
Domain is all real numbers. And the range is everything greater than 0. All right, number 4, we have a h of -3, so that's going to go in the middle of our table of values. A couple numbers smaller than it, a couple numbers bigger than it. Plug in -3, you get 0. Anything raised to the 0 power is 1. Plug in -4, you get -1. 1/2 to the negative first is 2. -5, you get -2. 1/2 to the negative second is 4. All right, and this will be 1/2, and this will be 1/4. Draw our horizontal asymptote, which is at 0. So again, we write that y equals 0. Plot these points. You can see our decay function. So we're going to shift 3 spots to the left. Our domain and range are the same as the last problem. All real numbers, the domain. And our range is everything greater than 0. All right, going to the next page. We got h and k in these. All right, so again, we still put h in the middle. Okay, h is -2, but so is k, but h is -2. All right, so -3, -4, -1, 0. Okay, so if we plug in -2, -2 plus 2 is 0, 3 is 0 is 1, 1 minus 2 is -1. Plug in -1, you get 3 to the first, which is 3. 3 minus 2 is +1. Plug in 0, you get 3 squared, which is 9. 9 minus 2 is 7. All right, plug in -3, you get 1/3. 1/3 minus 2 is -1 2/3. Plug in -4, you get 1/9 minus 2, which is -1 8/9. So my horizontal asymptote is at -2. Write that y equals -2. Shifted 2 spots to the left, -2, -1, -1, 1, 0, 7. So you can see that this graph and the first one, which had the same k, right, being shifted down 2 spots, it's the same thing, but it's just been over 2 spots less. Here, this one was 2, 7. We're going to notice that on this, in question 5, it was 0, 7. Right, just 2 spots to the left. All right, number 6. Oh, sorry, we're going to do domain and range. Domain is all real numbers. And the range is from -2 to infinity. All right, number 6. Now we have an h of +3 and a k of -3. We'll put +3 in the middle. Plug in 3. Anything raised to the 0 is 1. 1 minus 3 is -2. Plug in 2. You get -1. So 2 to the negative first is 2. 2 minus 3 is -1. 1, you get -2. So 1/2 to the negative second is 4. 4 minus 3 is +1. Plug in 4. You get 1/2 minus 3 is -2.5. Plug in 5. You get 1/4 minus 3 is -2.75. Got a horizontal asymptote at -3. That's y equals -3. Plot these points. 3, -2. 2, -1. 1, 1. And so graph is going to be a decay function that has been shifted over to the right 3 spots and down 3. My domain is all real numbers. And my range is all real numbers greater than -3. All right, 2 more. All right, so now not only do we have h and k, we have an a. Okay, so here a is -1. So that's going to mean we're going to see a reflection here. All right, so when you do your table of values, you set it up the same way. Yeah, you put your h in the middle, which is 2. A couple less, a couple bigger. All right, and now we need to plug everything in. So when you do this, 2 minus 2 is 0. Anything raised to the 0 is 1, but you have a negative now. It's -1 plus 2. All right, so your order of operations, you do the exponent first, then you multiply by the a, and then you add k. All right, so again, you get -1 plus 2, which is 1. Okay, plug in 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So 3, the first is 3. So now you have -3 plus 2. So -3 plus 2 is -1. Plug in 4, you get 2. 3 squared is 9. -9 plus 7, or plus 2 is -7. Plug in 1, I'm going to get 1/3. -1/3 plus 2, 1 2/3. Plug in 0, you get 1/9. -1/9 plus 2 is 1 8/9. Okay. My k is 2, which means my horizontal asymptote is 2. Now everything is below that. It's been reflected because of that negative sign. All right, so graph these points here. This is still considered a growth function. Right? Even though it's going down, it's just a reflected growth function. Okay, it's still considered a growth function because our growth factor is bigger than 1. What's being raised to the power is bigger than 1. B is bigger than 1, so it's growth. It's a reflected growth function. All right, our domain for this one is still all real numbers, but our range is going to be a little bit different. Our range now starts at 2. Is everything less than 2? So when we write this, remember we always got to put it in order, right? So it's -infinity to all real numbers less than 2. All right, last example. All right, our h is -3. Put that in the middle, a couple bigger. smaller. Let's see what the negative does here. I should again just reflect it. All right, so I plug in -3, 0, anything raised to 0 is 1. -1 plus 3 is 2. Plug in -4, 1/2 to the negative first is 2. -2 plus 3 is 1. Plug in -5, you get -2, 1/2 to the next second is 4. -4 plus 3 is -1. And then these over here we know are just going to be fractions that are close to 3. Plug in 2, right? I'm going to get -2, I'm going to get 1, -1/2 plus 3 is 2.5. Plug in -1, you get 1/4. -1/4 plus 3 is 2.75. So I have my horizontal asymptote at 3. Y equals 3. I plot my points. -3, 2. -4, 1. -5, -1. And so we can graph these. All right. And so our domain, all real numbers. And our range is everything below 3. So all real numbers less than 3. So that's -infinity to 3. All right. Again, if we were to ask you end behaviors, right, your right end behavior would be approaching 3. Your left end behavior would be going to -infinity. And so there's the key for your homework.